Hi, it's Thursday night, my stitching friends. It's time to make something new. Today, what are we going to do? Today we're going to be working with IQ Designer or My Design Center again. And this time we're going to digitize in the hoop a paper piece block. And because if anyone's done paper piecing, it can be a little tedious, but it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy paper piecing because with paper piecing, or foundation piecing is another name for it, you can get really, really tight points and everything looks perfect. So, and it's effortless. We're going to do paper piecing and it's all in the hoop, so it's a whole lot easier but to digitize it. If I were just doing one or two blocks, I probably wouldn't. But if I were going to do a whole lot of blocks of the same thing, I definitely would digitize it because it's a lot faster and everything is perfect. You can't go wrong when the machine does it because it's perfect stitching. We're not. So where this block came from was from Carol Doak's. It's called 300 Paper Piece Quilt Blocks by Carol Doak. It was by Martingale Publisher. It was published in 2004, and I don't know if it's still available. However, I have seen you can find these on Thrift Books or a Libris, or a couple of places. I have found it. I've had this for years, but what I did was it has like tons and tons of blocks. I mean, just all kinds in all different difficulties. And so this one is her block number 111, and why I chose it is it has some really tight points in there that are hard to do if you were having to piece it, regular standard piece it. But in the hoop is a whole lot easier. Now I can't give you this design because it is copyrighted, but however I'm going to show you how you can take your own. Now why I'm able to do it, because this is for my own personal use. It's just a learning experience to see how I can do it and get some methodology going. I do have Electric Quilt, which is software which has a lot of paper piece blocks too, but they were a lot more complex. What I did is I scanned it in. You can't scan in a book very easily because it's just too thick. So what I went to my copy machine and I made a copy of it, and I cut all the other riff-raff stuff out. I wanted it bigger. I think this is a 4-inch by 4-inch block, and I wanted it bigger than that. I tried increasing, on the copy machine to make it 6 inches by 6 inches, but I found that whenever you scanned in something that has been enlarged on a copying machine, you get blurry lines, and therefore it didn't turn out as crisp. I had a lot more cleanup, and I decided what I was going to do is just simply scan in the block as is in its normal size, do the digitizing, and then increase the size to the size that I wanted it to be. So here's what we did. So here it is on my scanner. Okay. When you're doing paper piecing, how you do paper piecing the traditional way is that you would take this block, let me get the block here, you would take this piece of paper, and sometimes you could buy special paper that dissolves away. With paper piecing, I normally don't do that because I just do too much of it, and I have never had problems with just using copy paper in order to do my blocks. So I copied the blocks. You could copy as many as you wanted on your Xerox machine. So we have our design right here. And what you would do is you would take your piece of fabric and you would essentially stitch on the lines. If you've never done paper, and there's lots of YouTube videos about how to do paper piecing, but you would follow like number 1 here. This would be the first block you put in. You would put a piece behind it about a ½ an inch bigger than this, and you would hold it up to the light to see how it would fit, and you would pin it or tape it. Okay, then you would take your next piece of fabric, and you knew this was piece number 2, and you'd put them backwards, right sides together. And you would sew on this line, starting a little before it and ending a little bit after it. You would also have a really short stitch length so that the paper would be easy to pierce. It's okay, it works well, but it is more time consuming. I'm going to put it into the middle of my scanning board, and I'll put the magnets in place. And I'm going to put the scanning board in. Okay, here we go. I would come over here to my home page right here. Okay, and I'm going to go my IQ Designer, which if you have a Brother machine, which is, now this can be done on any of them that have, any of the machines, either Brother or Babylock, that have the on-screen designer or the My Design Center. Both are the same thing. So I'll hit that. Okay, I want to scan, and I can have it create a line image. I wasn't too successful with it. It was still a little bit wavy, which on the Destiny, Dream, Altair, bunch of other machines I can't remember offhand, you would have an icon that looks like this. If you have the Solaris or the Luminaire, you're going to have a leaf that is in this direction, and when you hit the leaf, you have three options. You have image scan, line scan, and illustration scan. Well, we want to, line scan digitizes, image scan digitizes, illustration scan digitizes, but image scan does not. So I'm going to scan it. So I hit the scan button and OK, and let it do its thing. Okay. Alrighty, we're done. Now we're going to go back to IQ Designer now. Alrighty, so you can see the design barely. I can make it darker. I'm going to use my stylus. There is a small stylus that came with this machine. It works okay. What I like about this one is that I'm very shaky with my hands, so that I can actually take my little finger, steady it on the side, and I can pretty much get to any part of the screen. That's why I like this one. It's like a long pencil. You don't want to use a pencil or a pen. This has got like a felt tip on it, and it's fine. If you have the Luminaire or the Solaris, then you probably either want to use a powered stylus, and I think you can also get those on, at Best Buy, or you can use a mouse. And if you're using a mouse, you want to pick a mouse that doesn't have a lot of fanciness. You don't want a 3-button mouse. You just sort of have to hit and miss and play with the mice that you have. To me, the older the better. It's got to be a USB connected mouse. My old laptop one works really good. So, but reason I'm not using a mouse is because the table drops right off. I don't have room for a mouse. Not here. Anyway, can't see the image, so let's look. There, make the image so that it's a lot. That's as dark as I can get this. But it allowed, so what I did was I'm going to turn my grid on. I want the 1-inch grid. So I did that in my settings page, and then I went to a shape key. Now how I digitize is that I create a master design. And what I do is that I created this, so let me go bigger here. Okay, you can see that better. I would create a shape, I just need to draw the whole thing. So I'm going to draw it and size it so that it's approximately 4 inches by 4 inches. Okay, a little less. This one actually is less than 4 inches, like 3.96 or 9.4. And I may have to rotate it a little bit in order to get them to line up. And actually what I did was I just simply centered this and started to draw it in. So my drawing tools are right here. And these are line drawings. I'm not going to deal with any of these region fills today. So I'm going to select a double run. I wish you could do a single run, but we can't. And I want to pick the plain straight line. Okay, and I'm just going to pick a color. Any color will do. And I am going to, now I have that one, which is a square, and I'm just going to take the corner of the square and go from here. Draw from here. Well, I can't, oh, you know what? Can't see it because this is, oh goodness, undo. Okay, went too far. I just want to barely be able to see it so I can get the general shape. I lost my box. Whenever I have my red box, then I know it's something is selected, and I just want to move it over a little more. And I'm using the size or the rotation keys in order to move it, and I'm getting it as close to the design as I can. Okay, and then I'm going to take my drawing tool. This is hard to do. Well, you'll just have to get the idea. I have already done this to where I got up close to it and was able to get it to scan it to get everything just perfect, but I can't right now. And I'm drawing another one here. Looks like there's one here, one here, one here, one here, and there's a line going from here to here, and nope, undo. I want that to be intersecting with this. There we go. And another one here. Okay, those are all my lines. I think, did I get them all? If I'm not sure, I come over here and gray everything out. Yep, I have all my pieces in here. Okay, now I'm going to turn that off so I don't see it at all, and I'm going to make this a little bigger, like 400, or too much. And I'm going to have to erase some bits, and I'm just scanning around, looking. Okay, that makes more sense. I was saying I did so good. No, I didn't. I'm looking at the wrong one. Okay, so I know I've got some more drawing to do here. See, I've got a gap. Undo. I need to erase here, which I'm using the eraser tool. Okay, I'm going to inspect another section of it. This is just drawing. Okay, this isn't wonderful. Yeah, no, not wonderful at all. So what I'm going to do is redraw that from here to here. That's good, and I'm going to erase the rest. I'm going to go tiny pixel. Now with the Luminaire and Solaris, when you pick the eraser, you then, undo. When you're erasing, it helps to do little bits at a time and lift your pen. Because like that last time when I found out, see, I erased a part I didn't want to. Okay, and then come over here. Okay, and then over here. Okay, it's pretty cleaned up. Could I get that more perfectly? Yeah, but I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, so I'm going to zoom back out up here, which is up there. Okay, and now I need to select it, which is this square here on the Solaris and Luminaire. It's down here, and I'm going to select it. I think I need to rotate. I need to move it, that's for sure. I'm going to move it to the center. So here's my center crosshair, and here's the center of my design, so I need to really move that down. And I'm just using, okay, there, and it needs to rotate probably a degree or two. So I'm going to hit rotate and 1/10 of a degree. Yeah, that doesn't look bad at all. Okay. So when I have it, it's approximately 4 inches by 4 inches. And so at this point, I would go to my size. Actually, at this point, I would save it. Save it into the internal memory of your machine or on a stick or whatever. And on this machine, this is how I save it with the red box, the red pocket, with the Solaris and Luminaire. Your memory is going to be, there'll be a little box that says memory. That's where you'll save it there. I'm going to save the 4-inch. So I hit that. And then I'm going to take my size. And I'm going to make, now I'm counting, I have my 1-inch grid on. So I want this now to be about 6 inches by 6 inches. So I'm going to make it bigger proportionally until it's about 6 inches by 6 inches. Let's see. 1, 2. That's a little too much. No, it isn't too much. So I got it now to like it's 6 inches by 6 inches. Now what I'm going to do here is now I'm going to turn this onto the line, and I'm going to flood. I'm going to change the color of that line. Let's make that a yellow line. Okay, and I'm going to flood, which is this flood key I'm using. What I did here is I went into my line properties, which is looks like a paper, and I picked the color, I picked the stitch. Okay, and now I'm going to flood, which is the line flood, and as I touch it, you can see which ones are not touching until everything is yellow. And then, well, I don't like that color, you can't even see it. I'm going to go to dark maroon. Okay, so we can at least see it. Oh, it's touching this time. I think I got them all. Okay, everything's touching. And then I'm going to save it, because now I have my 6-inch block, and that's the finished size that I want, and therefore now I'm going to save it. This has become my master design. From here on in, all I'm going to do is decide which of these lines I need to stitch, alter it if I need to make it longer, like if it's a stitch line, and then and erase everything else. Then I put the next layer on. Now, these, you can put in more than one line at a time as long as the lines don't touch, but and that way you could have several of them go through to the editing on the embroidery machine at one time. But the problem is you cannot predict which line is going to stitch first and which one's going to be second. I've found that it defies reasoning. So it's easier to force the layering by myself. I will force the layering one line at a time, as versus letting the computer decide which order it needs to do things, because like they're wrong, huh? So, okay, so when I'm stitching, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to put stabilizer in your hoop. And the first thing I like to do is I like to have it stitch out this master design, because I've got it on the sheet. So that's my first color. So anyway, I'm going to leave it black. The next thing, let me make sure I've got the right stitches, and I'm going to change it to orange just in case, and flood it. And I think everything is orange, and I'm going to set it forward. I'm now in the stitches page. So here it's telling me that I am doing a yellow running stitch, and I don't have any. I only have the one, but it doesn't hurt to link them just in case the lines were separated. So now here I'm going to change the stitch length. That is 8/10 of an inch. I don't know what that is, but I did look it up in the book, and I want them around 1/10 of an inch, which is well, 10 stitches to the inch, which is a fair, about 2.5 millimeter stitch. And I'm going to hit set. And then if you have the Solaris and Luminaire, you're already in preview. You can make changes here. I could change the color. I can change the stitch. That's pretty much it. I can look at it up close and personal. Okay, and then if you have everything, you're already in preview. If you are with the Solaris or Luminaire, with the other machines, you have to go to preview. It'll show you what the stitches look like, and yeah, it's a yellow stitch. Hit set. It says you got another chance to save. I'm not going to, and now I am in embroidery. Okay, I am not going to move this. I am going to leave it alone and not suit, because now I'm going off of this master, so that everything I do is going to be in the exact same spot. So I'm not going to move this pattern on the embroidery edit screen, and I'm not going to move this pattern on the design screen. So I need to start adding stitches. So I'm going to add, and I'm going to do it from IQ Design, and I'm going to bring in my master again. We're going to do this a lot. So with every single step, you're going to add IQ Designer, My Design Center, and bring up your master again. Okay, here's my master. Okay. So let's get this design out. Okay, the first thing we want to stitch is we need to stitch. We've already done the whole outline. This is my #1 block, so I need to know its place. I know its placement because I can see it. It helps to keep your little design. So I have my placement already, so I don't have to do that. We can see where it needs to go. The first thing I need to stitch, though, is I need to tack down that piece of fabric. Now, differently from in the hoop, we're going to be working with the fabrics right sides towards you. Okay, so now I need to erase everything but that square in the middle. Okay, one quick way, you can erase several ways. You can just simply, I'm going to make it bigger so I can see. I can take my eraser, and I have a choice of small, medium, and large, square or round points. For large things, I like to use this size, and you just simply erase it. Okay? Another quick way to erase is to take your select key, and I know I have to erase everything here, so draw a box here and cut. Okay? And I can cut here. I just need part of that and cut that out. This gets big pieces of things you need to erase out of the way. Because now I can zoom in to 400. Okay, and with the Solaris and the Luminaire, you have a hand up here, which is your pan. You have to pan to the part of the screen that you want. My favorite thing about the Destiny is that we have a preview window over here, so I can take this, and now on this screen I see the part I need to work with. So I'm going to erase all these bits I don't need. And then I'm going to come over here and get this. A little more. A little more. If you can't get in really close, you change the size of your eraser, because now I only have a single pixel. I'll take my brush. When I'm doing tiny detail work, take your pen away a lot. Come over here, I'll make that a little bigger. Okay. Alrighty, back to 100%. Alrighty, there's my box. That's what I want to stitch. It's just going to be a running stitch, so I'm just going to change the color. Where did I put my notes? Here's my notes right here. Okay, so this I want to change the color to, let's see. We're going to tack it down in red. Let's do red. And a single stitch. And then I'm going to flood the box. Now that box is red. Okay, so you can see it's red. Okay, I'm good to go. I'm ready for the next one, so I'm going to hit next. I'm not going to save it every time. Preview, just in case I hit link and I want to change that stitch length. And set. Close enough, okay? Preview, take it all the way to embroidery, which means you keep hitting set, okay, until you're in the embroidery screen. And now we have 2, okay? We're going to add some more, okay? And then I'll bring up my master. I always have to bring up that master design, okay? So the next thing we've got to stitch is this line between 1 and 2, okay? So we're going to bring that forward, and we're going to erase everything but that line between 1 and 2. Okay, and the easiest way is, I know here's the line right there, so I'm going to undo. I'm going to use my select key to erase all this down here. Cut, erase this, cut, cancel, cut, and a little bit here, cut. And now I'll increase so that I can see the little bits I need to erase. So I don't have that much to erase, so I'm going to use the small one. So that's right here. And I don't need this top at all. And erase this. Okay, now the only thing is the stitching line needs to extend about 1/4 inch on either side of the seam line. So we need to make that a little bigger, and I really can't. So let's see, I'm going to make this one blue. So I'm going to turn on the drawing tool, and I'll make it a single run, and I'm going to make it blue. Okay, so I'm going to make this, and I'm going to now draw, which is this icon, and extend that out. Doesn't have to be perfect, okay? Just so long as it's close. Oh, that's not close enough. Sometimes you go from different places. There we go. Didn't touch. I want it to touch. Because when you convert it, then it becomes one. Ah, that's good. Okay, and then I'm going to flood the rest of it. So now it's all one line. Or one big line. Okay, that's good to go. So I'm ready now to go to next. Let's change, just in case, I'm going to change the stitch length. How I'm doing that is down here. Changing the stitch length. Hitting set. Preview. Okay. I'm just going straight forward. Okay, now I have created, see how this line now extends a little bit? There's my seam line. Okay, what's next? So I'm going to add IQ, bring up my thing. Okay, the next thing I need to do is we did this one. So the next piece, what you would do is you would put this right sides together, sew the seam, and then flip this open. And I need to tack down right here and right here. So we need to do a tack down stitch. Okay, so we're going to erase everything but the tack down stitch. Ah, stop. Okay, so I'm going to go bigger. No, not yet. Go back. I'm going to erase most everything because I just need to keep that and keep that. So select. Come on, there we go. Select, cut, and this part's got a big part I don't need, and cut, and then I'm going to zoom in. I usually like to go to 400, it's just easier that way. Erase, and now take that out. I don't need that one. Okay, and then I'm going to scoot over here because I don't need these. Okay, here's my tack down. I'm going to pick it, let's see, this is tack down, and we'll make it green. I always write them down as I do it, so I want it to be a run stitch green. Okay, I don't need to alter this because it's just a tack down. Flood it, and now the whole thing's green. Change the stitch and bring it forward to the design, to the layout and editing, or embroidery edit. Set preview, good to go. And one more. Okay, so now we have 4 color stops. So we've got that. Next thing is block number 3 right here. We need to do the stitch in between 1 and 3. That's the next one. So this is a seam line. So we're going to take everything out but that seam line. Okay, so add IQ, bring forth the master. So I need to erase everything but that line. So again, I'm going to select, take everything out in one big glob that I don't need. I don't need anything down here. Right up to where it goes. Take it out, and I don't need this. Okay, now I'm going to make it bigger and just get the little fine details out with the eraser. Okay, so erase. And over here, I don't need the top. I just need that one line. And I need this down here. Okay. Now this is a seam line, so the seam line has to be extended a little bit. So let's do some drawing. So I'm going to go to my line properties, a double line, and I'm going to make it purple. Okay. So now I'm going, oops, I want the regular drawing tool. So I'm going to do drawing tool, and I'm going to just extend this out about 1/4 of an inch or so. Did I get it? No. I totally missed it there. Okay, sometimes when I can't get it one way, I'll just go in another from the other angle. There we go, that's good. Okay, come down to this end, draw. That extends out that line, and flood the rest of the line with the same stitch. So now I got one big purple line. Okay, that looks good. So, and it's a little longer. Let's take it to the machine. So anyway, next, change my stitch length. I wish they would, like, once you picked a stitch length, it'd stay there. This is annoying, but you know, they don't listen to me. Maybe they will next time they put out a big machine. Okay, so now I've got that seam line. I need this tack down. So it's sewn this, so we're going to flip this number 3 open like this. We'll flip it open, and then we're going to sew this line right here. Let's see, that helped make it easier to see. Okay, so we need to go in and add IQ Designer and our master. And like I said, we're going to erase everything but this line and this line. These are our tack downs for piece number 3, and there's a total of 9, but it does get a little easier. I know, you're like, why didn't you pick a block that only had 4 pieces, Jerry? Because that's too easy. Okay, so erase, undo. I'm going to select, and I'm going to erase all this and all this. Okay, and I'll erase the rest. Come up here to my eraser. So I don't need the seam line anymore. So I'm going to hit the erase. Don't need that, and don't need the seam line. We just did it. Okay. I do want that one next to it. And I want to get those little bits. Oh, undo. That's why you forget the little bits. Good enough. The tack down for this is, let's go ahead and pick orange. So So I'm going to pick orange, double run, and I need to flood this as an orange double run, so both of those lines turned orange, so I know the stitch took. So now we're ready to take this to the machine. All right, next, change the stitch length. Okay, and then preview. This takes it all the way. See, all the layering is being done in embroidery. See, it's adding color after color after color. Okay, so next, where are we? Okay, so now we're ready for piece number 4. And we'll bring up the master. Here we go. Okay, this is piece number 4. So because we did all this original stitching, we sort of know where the next block is going to go anyway. Plus we have our design that says, this is number 4. So we need this seam line here to here. So we're going to do it just like we did this one. Okay, so bring in number 4. And this time we're going to make it pink. Okay, erase that, undo, keep forgetting to hit. Okay, this is the line I want to keep. I'm going to erase everything else. Erase that side. And erase the bottom. Let's see right here. Okay, and okay. This is the seam we want to do. So I'm going to make it bigger. Not too big because there's a lot of lines there. I'm going to erase what I don't need. Okay, we don't need this. We already did that one. I like the square one. The square one is easier to control for me. Down here. This one I don't need. This one I'll need later, but I don't need it now. And erase here. Okay. And a little bit here. Okay, this is a seam line. We've got to make it bigger. So this time I'm picking a bright pink line. I want the line. And I'm going to draw a bright pink line there. Come down here. Add my bright pink line there. It's undo, I missed. I want them to touch. Okay? And flood the rest of the line with the bright pink. So now I know this entire seam is affected. Everything's good. Okay, ready to go to the machine. So next, just in case something didn't connect, changing the stitch length again. Set. Preview. Okay, preview, set, da-da-da-da. We're at the machine. Alrighty, that's set. Okay, next we're ready to do the tack down for line 4. So we're going to do add Q, add the master. Okay, so we just stitched this line and now we need to tack this down. After it's folded open, we'll tack it down. Set. Okay, so we want to keep, we don't need anything on this side. Erase it. And we don't need anything on the bottom. So erase that. Okay, so I'm going to make this a little bigger. And I'm going to erase. Okay. This is the seam line we just did, so we don't need that. We need this tack down line. Let go. And erase all these little extraneous lines. Okay, I don't need to alter a tack down. Tack down goes as is. So I'm going to save the color to, let's see, tack down. We'll make this one a gold color. Okay, and then I'll flood the gold. Okay, once again, bring it to the machine. So next, stitch length, set, preview, okay. We're good to go, set. All right, next to add, we're ready for the next piece. Okay, next we need to do block number 5. So we need this seam right here between 1 and 5, or 1, that's 1, 2, and 5. Okay, I forgot to bring it forward. So we bring back the master. Okay. Right. I'm keeping that one, so we're getting rid of these down here. So I keep hitting wrong. Select, get rid of all these below. That's why I put it in the middle. I have that big crosshair in the middle, makes it easier to find. And then I don't need anything on this side. And delete that and just make it a little bigger, and let's erase. So put it in the middle so we can see it all. And so this is, don't need that, don't need that, don't need these. Oops, undo. Go a little bigger. And then down here, because this seam line's all we're looking for. Okay, we need to make that, it's a seam line. It needs to extend. So therefore we're going to now pick light blue for the seam. There's light blue, single, and I need a drawing tool. Okay, so I'm going to come up here a little bit and nope. And I forgot to erase a bit. To draw. Missed. Missed really bad. I always have trouble with diagonals. Got it? Come down here. Oh, way off. Again, way off. Close. No. Return. Hit the wrong button. Come back over here. Okay. See, I came back. I can't undo it. I have to erase it because that's now wrong. Okay, back to drawing. There. And now I flood the rest of the line. Everything turns blue. We're good to go. Now we go to the machine and change the stitch length. Set. And to the machine we go. Okay, and then we're back. Okay. Then the next one we need to do is these tack downs right here. Did it go? Oh no, I need to bring in the master. We're almost done. We're more than halfway, and the hardest ones are done. Okay, and master's in, set. Okay, I am saving those two, everything else goes. So cut, select, cut, to everything below, everything to this side, cut, and erase the rest. If you're not sure what it is, back up. Okay, so we're saving this and that. We don't need these. We don't need this one. Don't need those. It's best to go along a line because if you go scribbling like that, you're liable to miss a single pixel. bigger when I get to these little ends here because I can't tell. And then down. All right, let's pick a brown color. Here's a brown. Where's a brown? There's a brown. And flood the brown. Okay. All right, ready to go. Next, bring it to the machine. Here we go. Got our stitching. We're ready to go. And see, we got it. Didn't look right, but it is. I hope. Anyway, we'll find out soon enough, won't we? Okay. Set. Add IQ Designer. Now we're ready to put in piece number 6, which is right here. Number 6. So bring in the master. Now we're going to lengthen these lines, but this one's going to be a lot easier to lengthen, believe me, because we can use our size tools. When there's horizontal or vertical, you don't have to do any drawing with it. You just simply have to select it and make it a little bigger. Okay, so we want this line, the one between, here's piece number 6, so it's got to be between these two. So I'm going to erase, undo, select everything up top, everything up mostly below, and then go bigger and erase. So I need erase here, erase there, erase here. Okay, now I'm going to do my select, and I'm going to select a box, Destiny and Dream and Altair. You have to draw the box. So Solaris and Luminaire, you can use the magic wand to pick up to select this line. Okay, so I'm going to go immediately to size, and I'm going to just spread it widthwise until it just about hits that line. So I'm not looking at the box, I'm looking at the line. Okay, that's big enough. So we're good. I just need to change the color. Let's make it green, like a darker green. Oh, I didn't need to draw. So anyway, I'm going to select. It's now green. Next, change the stitch length. And then go all the way to embroidery. Okay, add IQ Designer for the next step, okay? So the next step is we need to keep these lines, which is the tack down for this block. Okay, so we're going to erase everything but that. I know this is a little bit long of a lesson today, but we're getting there. Okay, and pick this. Okay, and I'm going to erase, not quite as much, this one, and erase to here because I want that. I don't need these. Good. Erase. I know there's some there, so I'm just going to erase those and erase. Whoops. Erase. Okay, so now I'll go closer and get out anything else that's extraneous. Okay, good, too much. And erase this. Actually, I can erase this whole top area. And underneath, that's what I want it to set, because it's going to fold down this way, and I want it to tack down those 3 sides. Okay, and this time, let's make it pink, like a rose pink. Okay, single line, and there's a rose pink, and flood the rose pink. Whoops, those don't touch. That's okay. I erased too much, but that's fine. I can link it. Okay, and then next, and remember here, see I have more than one. When they're not linked, that's what happens when you select. So I'm going to link them. That affects both at the same time. And they're close enough, it should turn it into one line. Okay. And then add one more IQ design. Okay, so we got the tack down. Now we need to put in the seam for number 7. Okay, so bring in the master again. See, that's why it's so important to have a master, because otherwise you'd have to keep drawing this over and over and over again. That would like drive me nuts. And is this easier in software? Yeah, probably. Okay, so I need is this line. Take that out. Nope, let me do it again. I think I got the line. One problem with selected, anything inside the red box is gonna be gone. Delete. Yep. And then above the red line, this line is delete. And then I'm going to erase the rest. And I'll bet you I have some lines over here. Yep, there's one. And there's another. Come back to the middle. And I'm going to select just this line. Again, I need to make it about 1/4 inch wider. So I'm going to go to my size and make it wider. A little more. Yeah, that's good enough. At this point, you don't have to worry about it being too wide. Okay, let's make this one a maroon color. So here's a maroon single line, and this one I don't need to extend it because we just sized it. Okay, to the machine. Here we go. Change the stitch length. Set. Preview. Off we go. Okay. To the machine, and we got to add the tack down for this. Bring in the master. Okay. We just stitched this one, so it's got to fold down, so we need tack down here and here. So we're going to erase everything but that. Okay, so we erase this one right here, all the way up there, all the way here, and the top. Okay, make it a little bigger, and we'll erase the rest with the eraser. Okay, and here, don't need the middle. It's a tack down. It doesn't have to be exact. It doesn't have to reach all the way to the end. Okay. Okay, now we're going to tack this down. This is block number 7. Let's use a blue. So let's do a blue. Here's a funny looking blue running stitch and blue. Oh, those didn't touch, but that's okay because we're going to link them and change. All the way to the machine. We're good to go. Okay, now we need the next line. So we're bringing our master again. So this time now we're ready for piece number 8. So we've tacked that down. We need this one. So we know it's going to go right there. There is our seam line right here. So that's what we gotta bring in. That's what we've got to keep. Alrighty, so we're going to select this whole side. And we've got more erasing manually to do. I'm going to get some of this before it hits. Just take chunks of it out. Okay, that's good enough. Go to 200. I need to erase everything but that long diagonal line. And we're going to have to draw on it. So, just like we did before. Don't need that. Undo. There. Got too far. Okay, let me change that down to the smaller one. So it's 1 pixel. Keep doing it. Alrighty. Oh no. I need to erase it, not turn it red. Okay. Okay, bigger. Okay, so now we need to extend that range a little bit. And let's make this one a beige one. Here's beige. And, okay, and a line. Need a straight. What? Oh, I locked my screen on myself. My goodness. Okay, so now we're going to draw, extend that out about, oh, way off. Close enough. Nope, missed. Okay, and flood the rest of it. All right, and oh, didn't flood at all. We're not connected. All right, we are now. Okay, so now I'm going to go to next, and I'm going to link them because I know they were in segments. See, now everything before, when they're not selected, you only have part of it. So I'm selecting all of it. Set, preview, okay, we're good. Now it's still going to the machine. Add IQ Designer for a couple more times and bring in my, alrighty. So next we need to do the tack down for number 8, which is this outer. We need to keep that. And this is actually one of the easier ones because we're going to erase everything but that outer box. Cut. Come over here. And I need to erase this little bit. Remember, it's a tack down, so we don't have to be exact. And over here, oops, we only need to do it from the middle out. So get rid of that. And all that. Okay. Alrighty, and so now the tack down, let's make the tack down a green color. So green, I don't need to extend it, so I can just leave it green and flood it. I did get it all. Okay, now we're ready to go to the machine again. And I don't see, oops. Do you see how there's like something not there? Okay, we got a mystery line here somewhere. So I'm going to return and go bigger, see where I can find that. We have a mystery stitch out. There it is. See that little dot? That's going to want to stitch. No, it doesn't. Okay, now, okay, and when we go to 100, everything's there. Believe me, it adds a color stop, and you go, what on earth is that for? Alrighty, to the machine. Okay, now for the last block, we're going to add the seam line for the last block, which is number 9. And you're going, yay, enough. Okay, come on. Here we go. Set. Okay, and again, we're going to keep this long diagonal so we get rid of everything else. Long diagonal there, cut, and oops. Okay, that's enough. The rest I'll get with the eraser. Okay, so I got a lot to erase here. Okay, so here we go. We're going to erase here. medium one. Undo. Erase. Thank you. Okay, find the rest of it. Don't need that. Don't need that. Okay. We need to extend it. Remember, this is a seam line. It's got to come open. So let's make this one red again and a drawing tool. So I double stitch for the last time I'm drawing. So it's, I picked the color, the stitch, and, excuse me, the drawing tool. Okay, here we go. And I'm going to draw and come down here. And I know it's not straight. Oh, that is so bad. It's okay. It's okay, it's outside the seam line anyway. I could, no, I can't leave that bad. Nope. No. Okay, good enough, and flood the rest of it. Okay. Alrighty, that's good. So now we're going to, we've extended the line, we changed the stitch length, set, and back all the way to the machine. Okay, set. Okay, and the last thing we need to do, because we've got everything else, is we need to do the tack down, this very last tack down, and we're done. So we add IQ Design, bring back the master. Come on, let's go. There we go. Set. And I'm going to erase, select, erase all that. And erase all that. Wrong one, and come on. Keep hitting the wrong one. There we go. And I'll erase the rest of it with the eraser. And this comes out up here. Let's change the last one. Let's make it yellow again. Okay, so we're going to make it a yellow, like a bright yellow there. Okay, and flood it. And it's all yellow. Change the stitch length. Okay. Set. Okay. And done. Yay, it's done. Woo-hoo. Okay, I'm going to save it into memory. And internal memory of my machine. Okay, and we have a total of, let's see, let's go to embroidery. We have 20 colors, and that's what we need. Okay. Oops, sorry. All right, let's stitch. I don't know if I'll stitch the whole thing, but I'll just do a few of them so that you can see what it's going to, how it works. So I take this out. I've already hooped a piece of stabilizer. You can use any kind. No-show mesh if you don't want to rip it out. Tearaway's fine too. Let's use a little bit darker thread. First thing it's going to stitch out is the outline of everything. So we'll let it stitch that out. Okay, so what I'm going to do to skip forward is I'm going to use my plus or minus, and I'm going to skip forward a color stop so that it gives me the first first one. And I usually will go to the first stitch of the next color stop, so I know exactly where it's going to go. So it's right here. So I want to cover, that's not big enough. I want this to cover these the lines, because this is piece number 1, by about 1/4 of an inch outside of these lines. So I'm just going to overlap that and let it stitch. And this is my tack down. Whoa, hold it still. There's my tack down. I don't need any more than that. And I'm going to advance it to the next color. Okay, and then what I do is I will come over here and I'm going to cut away about 1/4 of an inch. Okay, so I advanced it to the next one, and then what happened here is that I am just going to move forward 1 stitch so I know where it's going to start to stitch. So my outside, that's going to be a piece of the sky. Okay, now with paper piecing, you used to have to figure out where things are going to fit. So this is actually easier. So what you can do is put this way, and you know what's covering because you know where it's going to go. So then you just take it right here and just put it this way. So your fabrics are right sides together on the top, which is different than regular paper piecing, okay? Then it's going to stitch the seam line that we did. That's a little longer. Remember, we had to extend it, and we did. I'm going to let the seams double stitch because that way they stay nice and firm. They won't come loose, okay? Then I take this and I'm just going to finger press that down. Now is the tack down for block number 2. I don't need to let it go any further, so I'm going to bring it to the next one and go 1 stitch. And I'm just going to cut that about 1/4 of an inch outside where those tack down lines were. Hard to do when this is, okay, and then this one here. Now this is my seam. Okay. I could trim that to 1/4. Oh my goodness, you can't see what I'm doing. I'm so sorry. I'm goofed. Let me move this closer. Okay. What I did before is I put this on to cover the entire block. And then this was this stitch, number 2. Folded it back and it did the tack down. I just did the seam line for blocks number 3. I could trim that, but I'm not gonna. Finger press it, tack down. I'm not gonna let it, I'm just gonna let it go 1 time. I'm not gonna keep going. I don't need all that tacking. Okay, good enough. Okay, I'm advancing to the next color. No lily. I should have left a little more there, but it's okay. It's better to have too much than not enough. There. Okay. Next is, it's going to do a leaf. And I'll probably do this as a leaf. So I know it needs to cover like that. Okay, so I'm going to just flip it over and line that up. Okay, see that? So I've lined it up with the seam and stitch it. This is a seam, so I'm going to let it stitch. Wait a minute, what happened here? Oh, somebody is very nasty. They want a bobbin, and I'm ignoring her. There we go. fold it over. It goes pretty quick to sew, it really does. There. Okay, now it's going to tack down. No. So I don't let it finish. Okay, go to the next one, which is the block on the other side. I need this fabric, so I need to cut this away. Too much. Too long. it's just clawing me. Stop it. No. I'm not giving you anything. Okay. Well, just take our chances that that will fit. Yeah, it did it. Okay. Don't need that on the inside. Don't need all this. That's going to do the tack down. Ha ha, it fits. Okay. Okay, tack down here for the leaf. Okay, have you guys sort of seen enough? So it gives you an idea. Don't need that. And I would advance it to the next one. Well, it's got, and it only says 2 more minutes, so we might as well finish it. I'll pull that out. Sloppy, but you know, gets done. Okay. And then we have 2 greens. I'll just use the same green on both of them. Okay, and we put it right sides together. I really went far. Wait a minute. Oh, there's an odd stitch there. Okay, there is a part that got left, if you can see it. See that? It's right there. We forgot to erase something. Oh, and it did the same thing over there. We didn't erase that one either. We'll go back to the next color. There we go. That's why when I hit the plus mark, it didn't go where I thought it should go. And I thought, that's odd. But that just shows we missed it. Or I missed it. Okay. Okay, finger press it. And here we go. And this is the outer one. But look how perfectly these points are. Okay, now for the last one. Okay. Okay, and the last. That might be a little bit of cutting out, but that's okay, it'll work. Got a little carried away with the length of the line. I didn't need it to be that long. Okay, and now for the very last. Just cut a little in here. Get it out of the way. Last finger press. Last tack down. There. There was another little dot we left. You have to get all those little dots out. One little pixel causes stitches. Okay. That is done. Now, let's make this bigger so we can zoom in on this and you can really see how wonderful those points are. Oops. Come back here. Okay, and then I would trim it, take it out of the hoop and trim it. But so this turned out really well, I thought. Like I said, those points are perfect. This line and this line, they're absolutely perfect. So you can't go wrong with paper piecing. I can't wait for you to try it. I think you guys can do this. It isn't hard. The worst part is drawing that first design, getting it just right, which is just simply tracing over and using your lines. I cannot free draw, as you can see. My hands go all over the place. It is easier with a mouse, I do have to admit. But that's the hardest part, is once you got the that master design. And it's the same thing whether you're doing an applique, say you're doing a house, you draw the whole thing. And then, you know, applique is a 3-step process where it's placement, tack down, and sealing stitch. So 2 of them, tack down and placement, are the same stitch. You just duplicate it and put one on top of the other, change the color. Sealing stitch, you take the same stitch, put on a decorative or a satin stitch, your applique is done. And what I like about it is, you know, sometimes if you want one color applique, say you're doing a house, right, this, and you got the square underneath, that you want this one to be brown, and you want this, and the triangle at the top, say, is burnt orange for a rustic roof. So you would do that, and they're 2 different appliques, but you don't want all this double satin stitching. You don't have to do it. You would set up your master design. So you would do your triangle for or you do your square for the house. So you would do your, how I would do a house is I would take the rectangle, take my 2 running stitches for the placement and the tack down, and then I would take the 3 sides of the house, bottom and the 2 sides, put a satin stitch there and leave the rest alone. Then you do a triangle for the roof, and then you've got placement, tack down, and then do the satin stitch on the full triangle, and then you could actually put in your windows. I mean, there's all kinds of things you can do, but put in your what your master thoughts are first, and then you go ahead and once you got that master, make it all a single line drawing so it's not hard to do, and then bring it forth, erase everything you don't want to use. Then take it to the machine, go back to IQ Designer, bring in your master again, erase everything but you don't want to use for the next step. So it's not hard to do. What I like about this, and what I think you, as new digitizers, this is a great way to learn the process of digitizing, because the hardest part about digitizing is learning to think like a sewing machine. And so once you get to software, all of the principles are ingrained in your heart at that point. You know you've got to layer, put this on top of that. You're going to learn that ad nauseum with this. Once you go to software, it's a whole lot easier, because instead of you just duplicate, change it, and then slide it up and down on the sewing order how you want it to go, it's a lot faster and a lot easier. But you're going to learn, and you're going to get even better, because with software, you know how when it started stitching here, then it went back up, and then it came down here and did this part. Well, you know what, with software I could join that into one, and I could tell it I want that to start stitching here and I want it to stop stitching here. Or in the case of an applique, what I like to do is I like to start stitching in the middle, go out, come down, go back to the middle. Because then you don't have all these little lumps from the starts and stops building up in one place, because we've got, what, 3 different triangles all starting and stopping in the exact same spot, which can make a lump. And then you end up tearing out the lump on the back because it's a big blob, which can happen, and then you end up with loose stitches. So, I mean, that's why software is a little better. If you have something in mind you would like me to cover with the IQ Design or My Design Center, then what I want you to do is send me an email at waltzquilt@yahoo.com, and we will address it so we can get through different projects. So if you have any ideas, let me know. So you guys have a great week, and I will see you Saturday or next Thursday. Bye, y'all.